Starting off this hour is going to be Brandon in Maryland. Hi, Brandon. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve, sir. What's up?
So my wife and I were debt-free, and we seem to be on opposite sides about having a credit card. We typically, after our bills are paid each month, have a surplus of about $4,000, and we save every month, but she likes to use a credit card. I have cut mine up, and I can't get her on board, and I'm just trying to figure out what I can do. Maybe you have an opinion on how I can go about talking to her about it.
Why does she want a credit card?
I honestly don't know. She didn't really give me a reason, but I believe that after reading your book, of course, that it's so mental that if you have a credit card, even if you have the cash to pay it off each month, that you're going to spend more, unlike if you actually had cash in your hand or you were using your debit card. But I guess she's just not seeing my side of it.
Well, I mean, it's not your side of it. What you just declared were actual facts. So it's not just your side. But that doesn't matter. I mean, the question is, why does she want a credit card? If a debit card will do everything a credit card will do, why does she want a credit card?
Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable question.
Yeah, I mean, if I give you a debit card and you're able to do exact same things you're able to do with your credit card, our budget operates exactly the same way. There's no limitations put on you that you didn't already have on you by the two of us working together. What is the objection with the credit card? And I guess you need to find that out, because what it amounts to is you're just stabbing in the wind, and you don't know what you're aiming at here. So you need to find out why it is she feels like she needs a credit card. Because my guess is that she probably has some bad information.
Yes, and I think her mother has told her that you should lower the amount on the credit card and it wouldn't be such a big deal. So if we lower it from what it's at down to something around $500 or less, then...
Well, I don't really care what her mother thinks. Her mother's obviously a fool. Okay, that's not the issue. The issue is, look at your wife, the lady that you're married to, and say, if you had a debit card that did the exact same things that a credit card would do, what is the problem with that?
Right.
You know.
Well, I'll do so, and hopefully I can talk to you in the future and give you an answer.
Yeah, and I think you can give her an answer then, because she's going to say, oh, I want the airline miles, which is a bogus argument, because 78% of the airline miles are never redeemed. If you do want to try to redeem them, you end up sitting on the wing, and you go through 73 cities to get to one location. You will find out how badly you've gotten screwed by that great lie. Or I've heard the debit card is not as safe as the credit card. Another lie. Because if you actually look on Visa and on MasterCard's website, they have what's called a zero liability promise to you in the event of fraud or theft with the use of your debit card or your credit card. You have the exact same coverage. You are not liable for people misusing, stealing your identity, fraudulently using your card. You have the exact same coverage there. I can't figure out a reason to use one. So consequently, you don't have one, I don't have one. And you do spend less with a debit card, but you spend even less when you use cash. Now, I personally use both. I've always got several $100s in my pocket in cash. I'm an old redneck. I like having $200 or $300 in my pocket, and no matter where I am. And I've always got a couple of debit cards, one on my business and one on my personal account. And there's money in those accounts. And I travel more than any two of you put together, both for pleasure and for business. And I really don't run into substantial issues with a debit card that are different than you run into with a credit card. So, I mean, they all get, you have to toss all of them ever so often now with the ID theft algorithms. Your bank's is going to reissue these things pretty consistently, whether they're debit or credit. But you're not liable in the event of fraud. And You do actually spend a little bit less, the studies tell us, with the debit card because you understand you're actually using money out of your own freaking account. And so you do have to stop and think about it a little bit, unless you have, unless you got $100,000 in your freaking checking account. You have to stop and think when you're spending $5,000. So you really, there's a thought has to go through this process. So hope that helps.